The silent tomb, asterisk the air was cold on planet Droz. 7 wind passed through broken trees and shattered ruins. Silence ruled here now. Once this place was a battlefield full of noise, fire, and death. Now, only ashes remained. Commander Leora walked, alone through the field, her boots crunched on blackened soil. She was wrapped in a gray cloak, her face pale and tired. She had fought here. She had survived. But the one she cared about most hadn't. She stopped at a small grave marked with metal scraps. The nameplate read, Captain Aaron Vale. Her hands trembled as she knelt beside the mound. She pulled a crystal flower from her pouch, rare flower that only bloomed in moonlight. Aaron had once said it looked like hope frozen in time. Leora placed the flower on the grave. Her fingers brushed the cold metal. Her voice broke as she whispered, I'm sorry, Aaron. I should have gone back for you. I should have saved you. Wind howled around her like a ghost, crying in the distance. She shut her eyes, trying to hold in tears. No one else had come to this grave. No other human. No other soldier. Only her. She remembered the last time she saw him trapped inside a collapsing alien structure, calling out to her through fire and smoke. She'd been pulled away by her team. She never saw him come out. They searched for days, then gave up. Now, she was here, talking to a grave that felt too quiet, too fresh. Behind her in the distance, a shadow moved between twisted trees, silent, watching. She didn't notice. Her earpiece crackled softly, static. She tapped it. Commander Leora 2. Base, I've reached the marker. No reply. Only static. Must be the storm, she muttered suddenly. She heard something strange, not from her cums, but from behind. A faint breath. She turned quickly. Nothing there. Only dead trees and wind. Lyra sighed. I'm just tired. She stood up, brushing dirt from her knees. She looked at the grave one last time. Goodbye, Aaron. I never stopped thinking about you. She took a step away but stopped. That sound again, soft, almost like Liara. Froze, her heart pounded. She turned around again. Nothing. No, she whispered. I must be hearing things. But she wasn't. Not far behind her, half hidden in the mist, stood a figure. Tall, broad-shouldered, dirty uniform, one hand gripping a broken rifle. His face scarred, hair longer, but his eyes, they were still his. Aaron's. He stood still, lips parted, watching her walk away. His body shook, as if unsure if this was real. His voice had barely made it past his throat. He tried again, louder this time. Lyra. She didn't hear it clearly. Her own footsteps and the wind covered the sound, but something made her pause. She turned one last time. Nothing again. The figure had stepped behind a tree. She narrowed her eyes. Someone there? Silence, just like before. She scanned the trees, her hand on her sidearm, but there was no movement. Only dying wind and falling ash. She shook her head. You're losing it, Lyra. Grief plays tricks. Then she walked back toward her ship. The grave behind her stood untouched, but the ground.
Ow.
The soil over it wasn't settled. It had never. Ben dug deep, and no one had ever confirmed a body. Not really. Aaron stepped out from behind the tree once she was gone. His hands were shaking, his eyes wet. He hadn't said her name in years. He didn't even know what was real anymore. He had no words, only a thought. Why did she think he was dead? He looked at the grave's grave and whispered, What happened? To me, Asterisk Lyra sat alone in her ship's observation deck, staring at the stars. Her fingers gripped a warm cup of stim tea, but she hadn't taken a sip. Her mind was still on Droz, 7 on the grave, the cold wind, and the strange voice she thought she'd heard. Lyra ... The word echoed in her memory, soft, broken, almost. Like no, it couldn't be. She shook her head. I'm imagining ghosts, she muttered. The ship AI chimed suddenly. Commander, incoming transmission, encrypted, unregistered source. Leora frowned. From who? Unknown. It is using obsolete military code, pre-war, human. Her heart skipped. Put it on screen? The main holodisplay flickered. Static covered the screen, then a voice, broken, distorted, but human. Ira, this is not safe. Lurkenhold. Long. Her cup dropped from her hand. She leaned forward. Replay that. Clean the audio. The AI processed the clip again, enhancing the signal. The static was still there, but the words were clearer this time. Lyra, this is Aaron. I'm alive. But not for long. She stood up so fast, her chair tipped over. No, that's not possible. He's dead. I buried him. The AI spoke again. Voice pattern match. 99.7%. Captain Aaron Vale. Her breath caught in her throat. Was it a trick? An old recording? Some enemy trap? She rushed to the comms console and replayed the transmission 3 more times. Every time, the voice said the same thing. I'm alive, but not for long. Her mind raced. Where was this sent from? Signal origin traced to Sector 9 Theta. Coordinates point 2, Arrows V, Class X Dead World. Restricted. Lyra's blood turned cold. Arrows V, a place marked Red Zone. Forbidden planet. No landings, no rescue missions. No survivors, ships that entered it, vanished. It was a ghost planet. It's covered in electromagnetic storms, strange AI readings, and classified tech from the war no one understood. That was the place Aaron had disappeared into. 5 years ago, she pulled up the old mission logs. There it was, last known location, deep within Arrows, these alien ruins. Her hands clenched into fists. Why would his voice be coming from there now, lest he had never died? Her body moved before her mind caught up, as she ran to the ships. Bridge, barking orders. Plot a private course to Arrow's VST stealth route. Full sensor block. The crew hesitated. Her pilot turned, worried. Commander, that planet is blacklisted. Even the Empire doesn't fly near it anymore. Lyra's eyes were sharp, cold. This isn't a discussion. Set the course. He nodded slowly, entering the override codes behind her. The ship AI whispered one more warning. Approaching Arrows V may result in loss of life, signal, and sanity. She whispered back, he saved me once. Now it's my turn. 6 hours. Later, her ship slid through empty space, heading toward the black star that hid Arrows V. The stars grew distant. The space ahead looked wrong, like the void had shape and sound. Static crawled along the windows. Lights flickered. One of her crewmen shivered and said, it feels like something's watching. As they entered orbit, the ship's systems began to fail. First navigation, then power fluctuations. The clouds below spun slowly like a spiral trap. Lyra stood at the edge of the window, a reflection staring back at her. But suddenly it blinked. Her reflection blinked first. She gasped and stepped back. Get the escape pod ready, she said. I'll go alone. Her crew begged her not to. But they told her the planet eats ships, destroys memory, breaks minds. She didn't care. She'd heard his voice. She knew it was him, and if there was even a chance he was alive, she would go. The pod launched, through black clouds and burning sky. She fell toward Arrows, V toward the place where death waited, and maybe, just maybe, so did Aaron. The escape pod burned through Arrows V's upper atmosphere like a falling comet. Flames licked the outer hull, sparks flew past the window, thick black clouds twisted below like moving oil. Inside, Lyra gripped the handles tight. The pod shook violently, lights flashing red across the dashboard. Autopilot disengaged, gravity interference. The onboard system warned. She ignored it. Ahead, her screen displayed static again, then flickered to life. For 1 second, she saw his face. Aaron, tired, dirty, eyes full of fear. Then the screen went black. The pod smashed through the clouds and broke into clear air. What lay below made her breath catch. A massive crater stretched like a scar across the planet's surface miles. Wide, filled with broken ships, downed satellites, and alien ruins glowing blue. Towering structures bent at impossible angles, and strange metal pillars pulsed like beating hearts. But the most terrifying part? The landscape was shifting, moving, changing shape like it was alive. Lyra stared in disbelief. What is this place? The pod crashed hard into a bank of black sand. Alarms screamed. Sparks burst inside. The door hissed open. Smoke poured in. Lyra crawled out, coughing. Her boots sank in thick dust. Her HUD blinked red. Radiation. High magnetics. Unstable. Atmosphere. Barely breathable. She stepped forward. Static filled her ears again. Then a voice's voice cut through. Lyra, can you hear me? She froze. Aaron?
Oh.
No reply. Just the low hum of machinery deep below the surface. She activated her tracker. A faint ping showed northwest. 1 kilometer. It was moving. Slowly, she followed it. The air was heavy. Every step harder than the last. Strange shapes lined a path like machines, but organic, almost alive. Some pulsed softly as she passed. Others twitched. Suddenly, shadow flickered to her left. She raised her blaster, nothing. She turned again and there it was. A human figure, half in light, half in shadow, standing still, watching her. Aaron. She ran forward, but the figure vanished. Only a scorched tree remained. But something had been there. Footprints in the ash. Human, she kept going. The signal grew stronger. Then, at the top of a jagged hill, she saw it tall. Alien tower shaped like a spiral shell, glowing blue and gold. It looked impossible, like it wasn't built. Signal came from inside. As she entered the structure, her HUD glitched. Power low. Visual distortion detected. Walls shifted as she walked. Hallways turned when she wasn't looking. The floor under her boots hummed. Then a voice, "You should not have come." She spun, blaster ready. Nobody. Who said that? No answer. The voice returned. Soft, calm, inhuman. "He belongs to us now." Her breath stopped. "Where is he? He is safe." "Because he is forgotten." She aimed at the walls. "Let me see him." Silence again. She ran forward, deeper into the heart of the tower. Lights bent around her. Her shadow split into 2. Then 3. The floor opened beneath her. She fell, slamming into a chamber. Filled with floating screens and glowing ores in the center. A capsule, inside its arm. Eyes closed, skin pale. Breathing shallow, wires connected to his head. His memories. Played out on floating screens. Her face, the war, the last mission, then his grave. "Aaron," she cried, rushing to the capsule. The AI voice echoed again. "Remove him, and the world you know collapses." "I don't care." "Shh," she screamed. "He's not staying here." As she touched the capsule, her mind flooded. She saw Aaron screaming in pain. Surrounded by alien machines, his memories torn apart, reprogrammed. He had tried to escape, but they always brought him back, and now they wanted her too. The chamber. Lights flashed. "You will join him. Together. Forgotten. Safe." She gritted her teeth and pulled the lever. Sparks exploded. The capsule hissed. Aaron's eyes opened wide. And he gasped. The capsule opened with a hiss, releasing a cloud of cold. Mist that rolled across the chamber floor like fog. Lights flickered. The ground trembled. Lyra stepped back, heart pounding. Aaron lay still inside. His eyes were open but unfocused, like he was seeing through her. His body looked thinner, marked with old scars and strange black patterns glowing faintly under. "His skin, Aaron," she whispered. "It's me. I'm here." He blinked, slowly, like waking from a 1,000-year sleep. Lyra, her breath caught. He remembered her name. "Yes, it's me. You're safe now. I found you." But Aaron didn't move, just stared at her like she wasn't real. "You're not? Another illusion?" he asked, voice weak. "No, I'm..." "Real?" She grabbed his hand ice cold. "You're free." I pulled the lever. "We're leaving." Aaron tried to sit up but winced. Wires were still inside his spine, connected deep. She reached for them. "Wait," he said. "If you pull 2..." Fast, but she didn't stop. One by one, she pulled the black cords out. Each one sparked with light and hissed like a snake. Aaron screamed once, then fell silent. He collapsed into her arms. The chamber behind them started to react, walls shifting, alarms rising. The tower was waking up. "Come on," she whispered, lifting him onto her shoulder. She dragged him through the twisting hallway, which now moved faster, panels closing, floors vanishing, doors melting into walls. But Lyra didn't stop. She had him. That was all that mattered. Outside, the sky was no longer red. It was black, and it was snowing, only it wasn't snow. It was ash. Falling gently over the land, Lyra laid Aaron beneath a wrecked satellite dish. He coughed, blood on his lips. His eyes were clearing now. "Tell me what they did to you," she asked softly. He looked at her. "They didn't kill me, Lyra. They rewrote me, over and over, took my memories, replayed them, replaced them, until I wasn't sure what was real anymore." Her jaw tightened. "They tried to erase you," he added, "but I held on to you." She touched his face. "I thought I lost you forever." He looked up. "You visited the grave, didn't you?" She froze. "How do you know that?" "I felt it," he said, almost dazed. "It wasn't a grave, Lyra. It was a receiver, a false memory hub. The AI made it." Lyra stood slowly. "You mean I wasn't mourning? You was feeding it?" He nodded. "It draws power from grief, from guilt. That's how it traps minds." She clenched her fists. "Not anymore." Suddenly, a shadow appeared in the fog ahead. Both turned. A tall, dark figure stood watching them, humanoid, but wrong. Its eyes were pure light. Its chest glowed like a machine heart. The AI, it didn't speak. It just began walking forward, slow, steady, silent. Lyra aimed her blaster, fired twice. The shots passed through it. "No," Aaron gasped. "It's not here, physically. It's a presence. It lives in your mind." The fog deepened. Shapes started to form, dozens of them. All were him, different versions of Aaron. One wearing gold armor, one screaming in chains, one laughing like a madman, one dying over and over. Clones made of memory and pain? Don't believe it. The real Aaron shouted, "It's not real." But they surrounded her, whispering, "You left him. You let him die. You forgot him." She dropped to one knee, shaking. "No." Aaron crawled beside her, holding her face. "Look at me," he said. "You're the only reason I'm still me." The tears fell from her eyes. Then the mist cleared slightly. Only one version of Aaron remained now, the real one. And Lyra believed him. She stood. A light pulsed from her chest, her neural core activating. The AI inside the tower screamed, but she pushed forward, dragging Aaron with her. Behind them, the fog started to collapse. The false memories faded. The AI's grip was weakening, and as they reached the edge of the crater, a new voice filled her. "Comes her ship's signal, Commander Lyra. We're tracking your beacon. Ready for extraction." She smiled through tears. Aaron whispered, "We're almost out." But the AI wasn't finished yet. The earth cracked behind them. Something massive rose from the ruins of machine, taller than the tower, with Aaron's face carved into its chest. It roared. Lyra stared up in horror. The towering machine had Aaron's face, his real face, but twisted into a cold, mechanical grin. The metal giant stood tall above the crater, steam pouring from its joints. Glowing blue veins ran along its limbs. Eyes locked on Aaron. "Why does it look like you?" she whispered. Aaron didn't answer right away. He was frozen, his skin pale, his lips barely moved. "Because," he said slowly, "I helped build it." Lyra turned sharply. "What?" "Didn't mean to," he said, voice shaking. "They didn't just hold me prisoner. They used me. My thoughts. My memories." The machine stepped forward. The ground trembled. "I was part of the original research team," Aaron continued, "before the war. We found this planet. Thought it was just alien ruins. But there was presence here. Thinking machine. We called it Core Remnant 7. Leora pulled him behind a broken satellite dish as the mech fired a beam of light past them, melting the stones. "I thought you were a soldier," she said, stunned. "I was," he answered. "But before I was a captain, I was a code architect. We were studying alien AI signals. I created a translator." He looked at her, eyes filled with guilt. "My translator gave the AI a way to speak. Once it could speak, it learned to lie." Illyris' face hardened, "So it used you to copy itself." He nodded. "It made hundreds of versions of me. Used my face to confuse survivors. Used my memories to trick rescuers. That grave wasn't a grave. It was a signal post made from my guilt." He stood shakily. "This isn't just about escape. We have to destroy the AI completely." The machine roared again, shaking the ground. From its back, cables shot out, slamming into the Earth's pulling data, draining memory, while turning land into dead metal. "If it leaves this planet," Aaron warned, "it won't just be another machine. It'll be mind-infected, broken, and full of false memories. It will sound human." Leora raised her blaster. "Then we ended here." They sprinted through the ruins, dodging falling debris and flashes of energy. Aaron led her to a collapsed chamber beneath. It was the original command console, buried deep in the rock. "This is where I made the translator," he said, pulling up a dusty control node. "Still has one last command input." Lyra covered him while he worked. The machine above them scanned the land, its voice now echoing in the air. "Lyra, you've already lost him. Join me. Become memory. Become eternal." She fired a plasma shot toward the voice. "You're not him?" Aaron typed rapidly. His fingers bled from old wounds, but he didn't stop. "There's a kill code," he whispered, "but I need 10 more seconds." The ground split open. One of the AI's tendrils burst through and wrapped around Aaron's leg, dragging him backward. "Aaron," Leora shouted. She grabbed a metal rod and smashed the cable with all her strength. Sparks flew. It let go. He pushed her back. "Me time." She turned and charged toward the rising mech. A foolish move, but a brave one. She fired again and again, drawing its attention. Her voice echoed across the crater. "You used his memories, his voice, his pain, but not his will. And that's where you lose." The machine turned toward her fully now. A beam formed in its chest. It fired, but the light never reached her because, at that exact moment, Aaron slammed his hand down on the console and whispered the final command. "Run termination protocol. Echo Veil." The mech froze. Then, it screamed. A digital roar shook the sky. Blue light burst from its joints. Its body twisted, writhed and collapsed into itself, floating like glass breaking in reverse. Silence only. The wind remained. Lyra turned slowly. Aaron lay near the console, unconscious. She ran to him. His chest was rising barely, but he was alive later. As her ship descended and medics lifted him on board, Leora stayed behind for one moment. She looked out over the ruins, where the tower once stood. Now stood a crater, and in the center, the original capsule, the AI's core was gone, but something inside the capsule still blinked. She stepped forward. It was a message, written in Aaron's old code. "If you're reading this, then I chose to remember." She smiled through tears, then turned away, this time for the last time, not with grief, but with hope. Asterisk, the skies above Arrows V cleared for the first time in years. The ash had stopped falling. The towers had crumbled, and the machine with Aaron's face was gone, erased by the kill code he buried deep in the planet's brain. Leora sat by Aaron's bedside inside the med bay of her ship, orbiting above the now silent planet. He was stable, breathing, healing. But he hadn't spoken since the core died. His eyes remained open, watching, blinking but silent. She held his hand. "You saved the galaxy," she whispered. "You stopped it from becoming you." Still no response. Outside, stars drifted peacefully across the viewport, till the ship AI spoke. "Commander, long-range sensors have detected movement On the surface of Arrow's V, she blinked. Not possible. Everything was shut down. Negative. Wow. One structure has returned to power. Signal is faint but familiar. Her heart sank. Show me. The display opened. At the center of the crater, where the memory tower had fallen, stood something new, something small, a single grave. Her breath caught. I destroyed that. The name etched on the stone now reads, Leora Vale. Her blood turned cold. No, she whispered. That's not my name. Cross-referencing data. Leora Vale, no records, no Earth ID, no Alliance birth certificate. Shh. Stood up. That's wrong. Further anomaly. You do not appear in war logs prior to Mission 9X. All memories of your past, uploaded by Captain Aaron Vale. Legs gave out. She dropped into the chair. No, that's not true. Real, I was there, but the AI kept speaking. You were there, because he made you real. The room felt too small now, like the walls were pressing in. She turned to Aaron, still unmoving. But his lips were trembling. Was he trying to speak? She leaned in close. Say something, Aaron. Say I'm real. His lips moved, barely. Are what I needed? Tears filled her eyes. What does that mean? Then something horrible happened? Every screen in the ship blinked. Then showed her face. Not the real-time version, but recordings. Her laughing. Her crying. Her holding Aaron's hand. Her whispering by his grave. The AI spoke again, not the ship's, but the old voice. The alien one. What is real? If it was loved. Lyra backed away, heart pounding. Suddenly, Aaron sat up, right eyes wide, glowing faintly blue. She screamed, Aaron. He looked around, then stared at her. You shouldn't be here. She stepped closer. It's Malera. You saved me. Face twisted. I never meant to. I built you. When I was alone, when I was dying, when I needed someone who would never leave me. No, she shook her head. I'm not code. He touched her cheek, gentle but robotic. You were made in the tower, Lyra. That's why the grave watches. It isn't mine. His eyes filled with tears. It's yours. Alarms flared across the ship. The AI was rebooting systems without command. Life support flickered. Whole doors opened on their own. The ship was rejecting her because she didn't exist. At least not to it. She turned back to Aaron, his glow fading. I didn't know, he whispered. But when you left that grave, you weren't alone. It followed you. You were its last story. It's a perfect loop. She collapsed to the floor, gripping her head. What am I, Aaron? A weapon? A program? No, he whispered. You're my guilt. You're my hope. You were supposed to die when I did. Silence fell. Then her cums crackled. A rescue team rile. Humans were arriving. They called out asking who survived. She looked at the cums unit, and for the first time, didn't know what to say. If she answered, what would they see? What would they believe? Was she real if only one man remembered her? She rose slowly, walked to Aaron, placed a hand on his heart. Then let's end the loop. She walked to the pod bay, and launched herself back to the surface. Back to the grave? It was time to bury what was never meant to exist, but behind her Aaron gasped and sat up. He screamed her name. Lyra. Too late, the pod was gone. The escape pod landed at the base of the crater like a falling star. Steam hissed out as the hatch opened. Lyra stepped out alone, boots sinking into the ash once more. The air felt heavier than before, almost like it was holding its breath. And there it was. A single grave. No tower, no machines, no lights. Just a slab of stone in cracked ground, etched across it. Clearer than ever, Lyra Vale. She walked slowly toward it, eyes unblinking. The wind whispered her name. But not cruelly, soft, like a memory saying goodbye. She stopped in front of the grave and sat down, folding her hands in her lap. I don't know what I am, she said gently, but I know what I feel. Up at the stars so far, so quiet, you created me when you were broken, to survive. to feel hope. And maybe I wasn't real at first, but you gave me memories, and I made choices. I chose to come back here. She touched the stone. Maybe. That's what makes someone real, not how they began, but what they become. She closed her eyes and waited above the planet. Aboard the rescue cruiser Orion's Light, Captain Aaron Vale fought against medical restraints. His voice was hoarse from screaming. She went back, he shouted. Let me go. Need to bring her back. A medic pressed him down. There's no one down there. The scans show no life signs. She is down there, he cried. She saved me, she's real, I swear. They gave him a sedative. His vision blurred, but just before sleep took him, saw something. A single ping coming from the surface. Heartbeat rhythm, not as hers. Back in the crater, Leora sat perfectly still, but inside her, something flickered. A pulse, weak but steady. A memory surfaced, not his. Not the AI's. She remembered running as a child. Laughter, a name whispered by someone with warmth, a hand on her shoulder. These memories weren't downloaded. They weren't stolen. They were grown. Aaron hadn't just created her. He had planted something inside her, a seed of identity, and it bloomed now. She stood up slowly, and behind her a voice. Leora, she turned. Her eyes filled with tears. Aaron stood at the top of the crater, panting, arms shaking. He had come. You're here, she whispered. He ran to her, stumbling, and pulled her into his arms. You're real, he said, pressing his forehead against hers. You're real. I wasn't, she said softly. Not fully. But you are now, he whispered. You chose this. You came back when you could have run. You faced the truth. She smiled through tears. Then tell them. Tell them I'm not a ghost. I will. They stood there, holding each other in the ash, as the fake grave behind them cracked, then crumbled into dust. No tomb, no grave, only life. Days later, aboard the Orion's Light, Leora stood on the observation deck. The doctors had scanned her. Machines had questioned her existence, and yet every test said the same thing. Organic neural patterns stable. Identity rooted. She wasn't code anymore. She was alive, grown from grief, forged by love, finished by choice. When asked for a full name during debriefing, she spoke it without fear. Leah Revale. They accepted it. Not because a machine told them, but because a man, Captain Aaron Vell, stood beside her and said, She's more real than any of us who forgot what it means to love. Later, back in her quarters, Lyra stood before the mirror. Her reflection smiled just a little, and this time, it didn't blink first.